Hey, you're going to see the very raw, unedited version of me. I have no makeup on, my hair's in a bun. There's no point in me putting makeup on because I'm gonna end up crying. This is like take I don't know what. So I'm gonna apologize. You're gonna get the raw version of me. Um, but I am married to Brother James, and we've been married 20 something years, I guess. 21 this year. And so it's just us. Um, we're pretty authentic, pretty real. I know that if you've been wondering why there hasn't been videos lately, I'm going to apologize for that. It's it's sort of my fault. James has had his hands full with me. Um, about a year ago, 2 years ago, I don't know. My grandfather got diagnosed with cancer. It's a form of skin cancer, and wasn't given a good diagnosis. And I'm a granddaddy's girl. I grew up with him. I was his shadow. Poor him. I was the first grandkid, so I guess he was excited for having me. Um, so I guess we grew up in a lot of ways. But I was a granddaddy's girl. I still am. And right before Valentine's, he passed this year. He had gotten really bad, and it's sad for me. But he's rejoicing. He's with my grandmother. He's with his dad. He's with God. And I know that because of this. Duct tape and all. My grandmother gave it to him years ago. And he spent every Sunday listening to the preaching. I couldn't tell you if he read it. Other than I know he listened to it on tape the way back then. And he knew it. But his Bible is filled with every bit of his life from the moment he got this to the last Sunday he attended. It has the first Sunday James preached, the first time he went and preached at another church, and we wasn't at church with him. It's in here. When I went to the hospital to have both of the girls, it's in here. The first time I started teaching Sunday school, it's in here. Every time we visited him, we had left the church that I grew up in where he was at and came back. My brother, my cousin, my mom, my uncle, every one of us is in here. Every one of us. And after every bit of that, when he says that we visited, he ended with, "It's a good day. It's a good day." The first Christmas without his wife, it's in here. He didn't say that was a good day. first time James preached, he said it was a good day. And then there's a couple of times where it's a nice day. So if you wonder why James hasn't posted, some of the sermons have been for our family as we started the grieving process. We knew we were hoping at Christmas we were getting some good news, and by the middle of January we knew things were not the best, and it happened really quickly after that. So it's tough. If you've gone through the grieving process, this is tough. I was a granddaddy's girl. I called him even when I was married. When Addison had to have open heart surgery, that's who I wanted beside me. And it's here. He may not have told us out loud he loved us, but it's here. It's every time he prayed for us, every time we visited, every time we were in the darkest valley of our life, he was writing about it to tell us he was praying. And the funny thing is, I knew that he prayed, but I didn't realize he wrote it until I started reading. I'd always heard that you can tell a person by the state of their Bible if it's falling apart, then they have a close relationship with God. His has duct tape on it. It's duct taped. Duct taped. I have been offered to have it redone. I like the duct tape. I like the duct tape. He's got a Christmas card from me and his Bible. He's got his pen still in it. He's got another Christmas card. If you know that handwriting, you know who it's from. He had names for all of us at church. We're all in here. Even the ones that go to church with us. The first time you showed up at church. The first time you responded with, yes, I'll come visit. It's in here. Addison's my daughter's life here, and then it says look at her today, and here, but look at her today. If you don't know, Addison was born 25 weeks early, weighing 1 pound and 4 ounces. She had open heart surgery at 7 days old. She was not expected to make it. And it's all in here. Every bit of her weight gain, every bit of her accomplishments, and even his amazement and how God answered the prayers. To even, she went to college, her first weekend staying in the dorms instead of coming home. The first time Brother James preached in the pulpit, it's in here. The last 30 years, this has been what he has. It's all in here. I mean, it's everybody. If you walked into the church he attended, your name's in his Bible. I want my daughters to have that too. That they know with as much certainty as you can have on this side of heaven, that's where he's at. I want them to know with that much certainty of where I'm at. And I wish that, and I pray for that for y'all too. So, if you've listened to me this far along, I'm apologizing for being her crybaby. I cry easily, and I'm grieving. I'm grieving a very important person in my life. And I probably made him very uncomfortable with my tears. So, bear with Brother James. It probably will be a couple of more Sundays before we get back on track. But we are headed that way. Just give us a little bit of grace, and we'll get there. We are attempting to record. They're not, and that's because James is preaching to our little church, and because we're all going to grieve, and sometimes that's okay to have a very specific audience, and that's what God has been doing for us this last couple of months. So I hope that you are still watching, and I hope that you've gotten something out of it. And maybe once the grieving process is a little further along, it won't be so emotional. And James will get back to getting you those videos of his little sermons. I'm laughing because there is a story about it. But may you each walk with God today, tomorrow, and may you each have a story that's handed down, a legacy handed down, that either to you and then to your children. I came into this marriage with James with a very solid legacy of being a Christian, of going to church. I laughingly said, and it was Granddaddy. I mean, if you wasn't running a fever 101, you might as well be at church. If you were going to go to school, you had to be at church. If you were going to go to work, you had to go to church. It didn't matter the weather. It didn't matter if you were sick. If you were going to be at work, then you should be at church. So, I was at church for most of my childhood. And he believed it. He lost his wife. The next Sunday he was at church. he had several surgeries, and as long as he was at home, he was at church, unless he was in the hospital. And those were the Sundays that were the toughest, because he wanted to be at church. So, find a church. Find your community. If you live near us, come be part of our community. And may your legacy be just as withered as mine. Because I think I'm going to start using kids. Because it's his. And this is the closest I have to him. So, God bless.